Hello students, I am Zainab Nalwala and this is the third part of third chapter. In the last part we discussed about the causes of the World War II and now we are going to discuss about the outline of World War II. Okay, this is a cutting from your textbook only because I think this is important for you all to read. I hope this is a little readable at least. Okay. Okay. So it's just a quick detail outline of World War II. Okay. So the world was again divided into two groups. One side was the Allied nations by England and France. On the other side was Axis nations by Germany, Italy, Japan. Besides this, some other factors were driven into the war-driven mentality and had entered into this. Japan attacked the American Navy at Pearl Harbor. As a result, America now gave up on his neutral stand. See, till now America was a neutral stand, was not in favor of any of the teams. But now America joined the Allied nations, thus making it stronger. When the war was going on a full swing, the America dropped atom bombs on two of the Japanese cities. It's a world famous thing. We all know that Hiroshima and Nagasaki. In order to stop Japan from moving any further, okay, there was a huge loss to life at Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Okay, it was such a vast bombing that its effects are still in the blood of their descendants. Okay, so in order to stop the Japan, 1,24,000 Japanese citizens lost their lives and there was absolute destruction. So Japan surrendered and the World War II came to an end. So just one move of America dropping bombs at Japan. Now, because of this, the World War II came to an end. Okay. Next topic. Okay. These are the teams and the head names, leaders' name. The two teams. Okay. So now is the topic of the effects of the World War. Now we knew that Japan gave up, surrendered, and now the war has ended. Now what happened after the World War II ended? So this caused tremendous destruction in the whole world, and it incurred huge expenses. America spent $350 billion on, and other nations had spent more than $1,000 billion. Property worth was the same, had been destroyed too. England lost its property, and Germany. One can't imagine the nations of the world gave more importance to the production of arms and ammunition. And so there was a scarcity of things for basic needs. So it was not for only the losing team, but also for the winning team. They suffered the same. So sufferings were in both parties, and destruction was also in both parties. Okay. So now the second point is communism in China. Communism in China is that many nations of the world were impressed by the way Russia had made a fast progress with its communist measures. If you remember, in the second chapter we talked about Bolshevik Revolution or Russian Revolution, where they show that Russia took its name back from the World War One and was involved in its own country's revolution. Similarly, now it was China's turn to take care of its own country first, and this was very impressive. And Japan had become weak after the Second World War. Under these circumstances, its control over China was also reduced. Okay, so taking advantage of this, Mao Tse Tung established communist rule in 1949 at the end of the revolution in China. Okay. Next, now the third point is about the Cold War. So beginning of Cold War started after the end of the First World War. So here two supernatural superpowers were there, that is USA and USSR, that is Russia. Okay, we can call it Russia. So the USA was a capitalist society with a democracy, and Russia was a communist country with a dictatorship. So both wanted to be the most powerful nation in the world, and the war of words and the war of ideologies that both superpowers initiated in order to support or oppose each other's opinion created an atmosphere of Cold War. Here Cold War means there were no arms and there were no bloodshed or anything, just the ideologies, war between the thoughts, ideologies, that is called Cold War. So many a times the situation for the Third World War seemed to be created because of this Cold World War. Just tension and an ideology difference was there. Yeah, so these were the effects of the First World War. The next topic is about the United Nations. Okay, see, this is a meeting conference of United Nations. So at the end of the First World War, League of Nations were formed, and at the Second World War, League of Nations, United Nations was formed in 1945, 24th October, with the purpose of peace, security and coexistence in the world. Its headquarters are in New York. Okay. 1 minute. See. Okay. So there are various, the whole structure of United Nations is divided into three organs: General Assembly, Security Council, Economic Social Council, Trusteeship Council, International Court of Justice, and Secretariat. Okay. So here the President Roosevelt and Prime Minister Churchill prepared an 8-point agreement while they were on a ship in the Atlantic Ocean, which later came to be known as the Atlantic Agreement. The agreement include matters like maintaining freedom, sovereignty of every nation, peace, security, social economic welfare and disarmament, matlab no guns. Thus the foreign countries of Britain, America, Russia, China met in Moscow for world peace, which came to be known as Moscow Declaration. So in November 1943, three superpowers led the conference in Tehran. The representatives of 50 nations prepared for the agreement of United Nations at Washington, and in 1945, 51 member nations declared the establishment of United Nations. India is also a part of it, and since then 24th October is celebrated as United Nations Day all over the world, and presently there are 193 members in the United Nations. Okay, so here our third part stops. We'll discuss about the organs of the United Nations in detail and its activity in the fourth and the last part of the chapter. Thank you.